Hey fellas and fellettes, as Derek from Vice Grip would say. I got this zip kit from my ZF6 HP28 that is in my 2013 Land Rover LR4. The instructions are fantastic and you should read them 10 times and do a lot of research online before you get involved in all this. But there are some things that are either hidden in here or not clear or not in here at all. So I got some tips and tricks for you just so you can go through if you're going to take this on. So these are your two valve body halves. They're separated by a separator plate. When you take this apart, what I'm looking at here is the part, if you flip it upside down, goes up against the bottom of the transmission. So it's technically the upper plate, but you want to make sure the upper plate is low when you go to separate this. Make sure you can see all these cylinders on top right here, so that when you pull it off, you make sure the separator plate stays down. Because if you don't and you do it upside down, all of these little parts will fall out. One of the main parts of this video that I want to go through is what is in here so you don't miss anything or think you're missing anything or whatnot. So what you got in here is you got 8 check balls, and these check balls live inside these little pockets that are ball shaped. Got your 7 accumulator pistons. Got 4 springs. Got this filter, and you've got this double check ball situation going on here. When I did all of this, I found that these accumulator pistons were probably the most shot. They originally had these little rubber ball things that give it the springiness, and the new kit comes with actual springs for the cylinders, which really makes them seem to operate a lot better. Apparently that is will make one of the biggest differences in the kit. These 8 check balls that are in here, they all have their own little pockets, and the instructions do provide for where they are. However, you'll see this one pocket here. It looks like it's up for a ball, but it does not. It took me a long time on the internet to track down that pocket does not need to have a ball in it for this thing to work. I thought for sure I had lost the ball and I was gonna have to order more balls, but that was not the case. So that hopefully goes around the inside of this thing. All right, the O-rings. This kit comes with all of these new cylinders that they're metal, but they have O-rings on them. The ones that are in the valve body, they're all solid metal. They don't have O-rings on them, so they slide out very easily. When you go to put in the O-rings, the ones with the O-rings, it's a lot more difficult, and you kind of think it's wrong. So again, I did a lot of research to find out, nope, they're supposed to be that tight, and don't worry about it because the hydraulic pressure in this body will more than easily move them. So they're going to seem a lot tighter, but it will work. Another thing I've seen online is a lot of people like explode every single piece of this and pull out all the valves. That seems ridiculous to me. You should follow the instructions, do them one by one so you don't lose pieces, you don't mix anything up. You know exactly where everything goes. You can see I checked off as I did each thing. They have these little clips in them to hold everything in. You pull those out, thing slides out, you replace it, you put it back in. Pretty straightforward on that end. Speaking of O-rings, your solenoids all have 2 sets of O-rings on the end. They're actually, even though they look like they're all the same, they're all different. So there's a little chart in here that shows you which O-rings go with which body. They're not really marked on the bags that it comes with. So there's a little tip in here that says when you take an O-ring off of your solenoid, match it up with one of the O-rings that you allegedly think goes with it and make sure it's exactly the same. Because a lot of these are within a ½ millimeter of each other. They're not quite exactly the same. So just make sure you have the right O-rings for the right solenoid. You can see I labeled mine once I figured out which bag was for which solenoid, because it's not completely obvious from the directions. You're going to want to line those up. One of the other big tips that you see everywhere is just do not touch this electrical connection. You do not want to fry that thing in any way, shape, or form, because that thing's mated to your specific vehicle. And if you get it wrong, you are in big trouble and have to go to the dealership. Anyway, take your time, leave yourself lots of space, keep lots of pans. This fluid gets everywhere. Try and keep it away from your papers. It will soak right through them, as I found out. I did find that my separator plate had some areas where it was worn down. So I did order another separator plate, which is what I'm waiting for now, which is how I was able to make this video. Hope this helps.